Recording.
We're recording.
Woo!
Yay! What's this dance that you're doing in your seat? Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to Two Black Girls, One Rose.
Where two black-ass girls invade the whitest show on earth.
The Bachelor.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Justine.
And we have a very exciting special episode today. We're super pumped to do this.
Yeah.
So we don't have an interview. We obviously don't have a season to recap right now. So instead, we're going to do a deep dive into some pretty major dating and relationship themes that came up during Arie's season. And we're also going to, in the process, give a little insight into our New York City dating lives. Get to learn us a little bit more, and then also just talk about some themes that came up, but things that we all encounter in dating in general.
Yeah. No, I'm nervous.
I'm excited.
Oh my god.
I'm a little nervous by what I might reveal. But that's what we're here for, so
yeah,
whatever.
right. Yeah.
So yes, we'll get to that juicy stuff.
Yep.
But first, church announcements.
Yay!
Look out to your program.
So guys, we got some great emails this week.
Some really good emails.
Yeah, really nice. Nia emailed us. Nia, who we're going to dive into her email during Bachelor News, actually.
Yes.
But Nia, at the very end of her email, said she can't wait until we have sponsors. And girl, that is the best compliment we have ever gotten.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Us too.
Yes. Then Shell emailed us.
Hey, Shell.
And Shell actually reminded us that Claire is Latina. Her mom is Mexican, and we saw it on Juan Pablo's season, which is one of my favorite hate watch seasons
ever.
Woo!
Yeah.
He was terrible.
God. Yeah, totally didn't remember that Claire was what did I say? Mexican?
Half Mexican.
Half Mexican. And they don't play Latin drums when she comes on screen.
Right.
And the way they do to Bibiana.
Right.
So, yeah.
You weren't reminded.
Constantly.
And then
we delve into these tangents that we can go off. But
yeah.
We're let's bring it back.
Yep. Bring it back to our lovely listeners.
Yep.
Dylan, who's emailed us before, who is from, I believe, Germany, Dylan?
Shout out to Germany.
Yeah. And, obviously white. And she emailed us with a really, really interesting theory about Rachel's season, about the black men on the season. And she said that basically they picked men who could easily fall into stereotypes so that Rachel would not pick a black man.
And I've asked the question before, is ABC ready for black on black love? Clearly not.
Obviously not.
Obviously not.
And she actually had theories on almost every black guy in the house. Josiah became this arrogant and overly sexualized, aggressive guy, and you know how I, in particular, feel about Josiah. Woo!
But it's funny because that same little stereotype came up on Winter Games.
It came up on Winter Games. It also came up on Becca's fucking intro when that guy came up to her and was like, "Ooh, you look like a piece of chicken." What did he say?
Oh, he put himself in that own.
He did.
Hole.
He did. But he seems to be like one of those guys who could easily fall into the stereotype. Demario was untrustworthy to say the least, girl. Oof. Kenny was an angry black man, and so was Eric in different ways. And Eric, I could go on and on about my boo. But Eric was the one who was really honest about his background and about poverty in the black community, about how he didn't have a father growing up, he was raised by women, all kinds of things. And was painted to be this kind of innocent, immature one. And just wasn't treated, Dylan says, wasn't treated as career-minded. Which we found very interesting. Natasha found out.
Yes. So one thing I always noticed when I was watching the show, Eric is a personal trainer. His career was listed as personal trainer. Peter, also a personal trainer.
Definitely.
His career was listed as entrepreneur. What's the difference?
Right.
they both could be entrepreneurial,
right?
Personal trainers. As a personal trainer, you tend to kind of run your own little business. Mm-hmm. Why did Eric get just personal trainer? Why did, Peter get entrepreneurial? So when Dylan said that in her email about him not being painted as like career minded or like this immature kind of like guy who's just getting his life together type of shit, I immediately thought of that.
And Peter is now exclusively doing personal training or group classes. Mm-hmm. And my Eric has a podcast and still doing personal training.
Entrepreneur, thank you. Where was his credit? Just saying.
You want about to talk about doing twice as much, getting half as much.
Sips tea.
Yep. And then, and at the very end, she said a very definitive point where she said, I feel like ABC traded the progress of a black bachelorette for the promise that they would reinforce stereotypes about black men and ensure that Rachel would not choose a black man. Ooh!
And this directly relates back to what we talked about on last episode with Rachel's interview with Houston Chronicle, where she said she was disappointed in the black men that were casted for her, and she reminded them she's only ever dated black men before, so I guess she was hoping they'd come with something a little bit, better. And that's what they cast. Yeah, some, I'm sure, very nice guys, but fell very easily into these stereotypes, and the intentionality behind their casting wasn't as fruitful, I would say. Right. Leave it at that.
So thank you, Dylan, for that perspective. That was awesome. And then Lauren emailed us with some fun tea. We're getting back to the fun. Where on E! News Instagram post about Dean and Leslie's breakup, how our girl CN did a little comment and said that Dean slid into Baby Becca or Becca M's DMs. Gross, first of all.
Not surprising, second of all. Like, everybody's sliding into Becca M's DMs, probably.
And then Dean posted a photo with Sian. I think it was at Coachella?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, he, I guess it was soon after she did her little shady comments on the E! News, and he posted a picture of the two of them at Coachella, and then said something in the comments look at us in our awkward petty pose. Or something.
Okay.
His version of shade. So
wow. Okay, I didn't even get it. Yeah. Okay, well, all right, Dean, that was a great try. So that's it for the church announcements this week.
All right. Well, you guys know what time it is.
Oh, God.
Time's getting hard. Time for the Peter and Eric update. Gosh. Peter ain't doing not a damn thing. He's going to baseball games all of the time. This is his favorite, Saturday night activity. Or not even just that, Tuesday night activity. Anytime I go on his Instagram story, he's, at another baseball game.
Oh, my God.
Whatever team is out there. I don't know.
Right? Who cares?
Who cares?
Oh, my God.
That's what he's up to.
All right. Well, same with my boo, just looking delicious on Instagram. And he went to Coachella.
Indeed.
And he saw Beyonce, and I didn't. So that's something.
That's news.
That's news, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Shout out to Beyonce, by the way.
Oh.
And that just... I can't even go into
I know, I can't even
description of what I watched. Yeah.
Oh my God.
If anybody has a link,
yeah,
because the one that we were using got removed. So any links for Beyonce's performance? Please send that through. Thank you. In other Bachelor news, a bunch of people were at Coachella. We saw Sian with Kendall. They went together. Dean, whose birthday it is today, FYI, was there with. I don't know if he's with Alex, the hot Russian.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But they were, photographed together. Alex was wearing a short-sleeved short suit.
Oh, a romper?
Not the romper. It was, separates.
Oh.
Pants.
Oh, okay.
That were shorts.
And then a short-sleeved
blazer.
Oh.
Matching. Just riding out.
That sounds warm.
Very warm.
That sounds aggressively warm.
Yeah. But that was his, people go crazy with their Coachella
They
outfits.
do. There was a lot of man thigh. out this week.
Because I think their shorts, I don't know men's fashion too much, but I feel like their shorts are getting shorter.
So do I.
Yeah. They're getting shorter.
Yeah, you guys.
And
by you guys, I mean the males. Like, you guys.
If you got nice legs, I'm not opposed. A lot of you out here like some booty cutters. Like, I mean, I don't need like down to the knee 90s. Harmony, like shorts anymore. So I can do the little shorter if you got the legs for it.
Right.
And it's not too short.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's not too
questionable.
Short, it's fine. Yeah. And if it doesn't give you a moose knuckle.
Oh, jeez. A moose knuckle?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But that is horrible, that sound. So yeah, tons of people at Coachella. Other news. So shout out to Nia, who sent us, or made us aware of this. So Olivia Caridi, who is from Ben Higgins' season, she was the villain, quote unquote villain of Ben Higgins' season. She was always stealing time and always talking a whole bunch and blah, 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 blah. She has a podcast, and on her podcast, she had Amy Kaufman, that woman who wrote Bachelor Nation, that book. And basically, she was talking about how after her stint on The Bachelor, she was really struggling with depression, and was even suicidal at some point. Yeah. So she said she struggled with depression most of her life, but between her terrible edit as the villain and people just blasting her in comments, it really affected her like mental state.
Now, what year was this?
So Ben was before Nick.
Okay.
So was this 2015?
2015. So this was at the time where people were just starting to get Instagram famous.
Around that time.
Around there, like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
So it was around the time when you're paying attention to more comments on a platform where people didn't have to be your friend. They could just find you.
Yeah.
It's not like Facebook where they have to be your friend.
Right. So
or you have to go looking.
So a lot of that was starting, around that time.
Oh, no.
So if you go in with already a shaky mental state, forget it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she also revealed, which was very interesting to me, because you guys know I always ask about the producer relationship that I just find wild. She revealed that her producer, so producers are assigned to different girls. Right. Her producer, a girl named Caitlin, she thought was her best friend. Was her BFF. Later comes to find out, homegirl Caitlin was talking shit about Olivia to all the other contestants during their interviews to try and get them to say stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she would go and like, Olivia's like fucking nuts, isn't she? And then they would film their interview. These people have a job.
Yep.
The Bachelor producers have jobs. They are not your friends.
Right. And you're part of the job.
You are part of... Isn't that... It's just such a fascinating dynamic to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, of course, these are great people. I'm sure you do build, like, actual relationships with them and whatnot. But your relationship is... It's one part of it is that you are part of their job.
Right.
Like, they're paid to become your friend to get you to say shit on the show.
Right.
So it's like you have to keep that in the back of your mind before you end up like Olivia, where you think these people become your best friend. They are not your best friend.
And they had a plan for her.
Yeah.
Like they had her. I can't get the image out of my head of like.
You know how in Millionaire Matchmaker they used to have the girls like pinned up on the cardboard?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Just like
they
that.
They did that. They showed it on Unreal. The show.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So she said, that happened. She also learned that, so her thing on the show, she was always pulling Ben first, She told her she said she kept doing it because her producer would tell her, oh, Ben told me that he wants to talk to you first.
No!
So she was always going in and dragging him first.
Oh my
Little does she know,
God.
Ben ain't say shit. And she becomes the villain in the house and all the girls literally hate her.
Yeah, that could have happened to Crystal.
That could have been, Crystal's thing. Yeah. Always taking him first. So my takeaway from this little interview that she did, everyone needs to watch Unreal. If you're going on this show, that should be required viewing for you.
It should be.
Not just going back and watching past seasons, but also watching the show Unreal, which is a scripted show, so it could be kind of like over the top.
Yeah.
But they do still show you, at least fundamentally, how the producers work with you as a contestant.
Right.
And so you need to have your guard up. Because I'm sure they're very nice, lovely people, but they're there for a job. They're making a show. So, particularly if you have a unstable kind of mental state already, or prone to anxiety, depression, paranoia, all that shit, you need to go in there armed and ready to go.
Armed with your meds.
Yeah,
like
meds and
everything you need,
and just have your guard up around these people.
Yeah.
So that was that. So let's dive into Bibiana's interview.
Sure. Yeah.
If you haven't listened to Bibiana's interview, definitely go back and listen.
Yeah.
It was a fun one. We were on the phone with her for like 3 hours.
Yes.
Y'all don't even know.
We were. Yeah.
The editing that went down.
And shout out to Natasha for the editing.
Thank you. I want my shout out because, man, that was a feat. That was a long phone conversation, which... Really, we just got very comfortable with her, and I think she was comfortable with us. Just literally, just 3 friends, like on a phone, talking. So editing was interesting. But we want to go over our main takeaways from that. Do you want to go?
Sure.
First? Go ahead.
So she had some really awesome dating and just life as a single woman advice that I have never heard before.
Really?
Which is shocking.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, just that if you're 30 and you're single in a big city, just go out and make new friends and like get a whole new circle.
Yes, I wrote that down as well.
I think that is so dope and also easier than one would think.
Yeah.
And I think because, like, guys, I'm an extrovert. I love meeting people, but it's really hard for me to try to go out and meet people because I've been burned so many times. And I've been burned so many times, particularly by racism.
Oh.
And so they burn real bad.
Oh, geez.
So I have a hard time making friends with people who look different than me. And I don't know. I just have a hard time letting my guard down in that way. So it was cool to hear her say, even though she's in Miami, but that's what you're supposed to do, and that's what's working for her. I think that was cool.
Yeah, that was one of my takeaways as well. And I was talking about this with you off podcast last year. I joined a kickball team.
Yeah.
I did that with 2 friends from grad school. They had done it before, but the whole point of this team is to it's like old people in their 20s, not there to play football or kickball, but it's just like to meet other people, go out and drink, things like that. And I was very apprehensive at first. Like I don't think I would have ever done it by myself. Like I needed my grad school friends there.
Yeah.
But it did open me up to like a new kind of circle of people. I didn't become best friends with these people, but I did have like a new network of friends.
Yeah.
And even like some guys to like hang out with for a summer. And it was cool.
Yeah.
And I think definitely, like I said on her podcast, like sometimes our own friends can handicap you in a sense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you do need to go out with. So I also, one of my takeaways was same thing when we asked her why aren't there enough Latinas on the show, and she said that they don't really watch the show, so they don't really try out or they don't audition for the show. And that made me think, like, well, of course, why would you try out for something where you historically are not represented on?
Right.
So that's the first thing. And like I do now, talking with the last 4 interviews that we did, I do now believe that there aren't that many people of color that audition for the show because of the result of the show historically being so damn white.
Yeah.
So it makes you think even more, like what I said before, how if they really do care about diversity, then they would make even more of a concerted effort to scout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or bring people of color onto the show. They're not making that effort.
Yeah.
And so the show perpetually every year is being very, very white, and result of it being so white, people of color are not applying. So it's just like one big cycle, the chicken or the egg, like you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that just annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't know how you solve that problem unless they make a concerted, prioritized effort that we want to create the show. We want the show's contestants to reflect a little bit more of like what America looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually put in the effort.
Yeah.
But they're not putting in the effort. Hence why the show was so white. Well, similar to Lauren G, Bibiana also didn't watch the show beforehand. Which, again, I think that's just... You can't go into a show like this and not have watched it before.
Any reality television program.
Show. Yeah. You're going in, it's like you're just signing up blindly for something and just hoping for the best. Like, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
None.
That's a humongous risk.
And I hear Real Housewives who do this same shit.
It's wild.
I can't understand it. And the only one who I think has been successful in that are Heather Dubrow and Erica Jane.
Who didn't watch the show.
They didn't watch it at all, and then they went in and they, like, killed it.
Killing it, yeah. Yeah, I don't understand that. Particularly, Bibiana said I can be a very anxious person.
Ugh.
And I think even more, if you're someone who's prone to being anxious or any of that stuff, like, you're going to be like a producer gold mine.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you need to arm yourself so that these people don't run you ragged and create all kind of weird characters and edits for you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just very interesting that 2 out of our 4 people had never seen the show before.
Yeah.
Same with Diggy. I don't think he watched it much either.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. But he was extra super cautious of himself on the show. So that's one thing. My other takeaway was the Latin drums background beat.
Yeah.
And Bibiana was not, she wasn't offended by it.
No.
She said, she was like, tell them that I'm different, show them that I'm Latina. I mean, if she doesn't have an issue with it, you know, more power to her. Still irks the shit out of me. Because it just kind of shows you how they don't know what to do with the people of color.
Right.
when they're there. So they try to create these like little euphemisms or they try to fit them into box stereotypes. Yeah. Like how Lauren G said they're trying to fit her into the... wouldn't just let her be herself.
Right.
And even with Rachel, like they just couldn't let Rachel have her season. They had to just throw in the race foolishness. Yeah. It's like they just generally don't know what to do with the people of color. Yeah. If they don't fit into the box, then they're going to mastermind some crazy narrative for them or slap in some Latin drums. And it's like... You just let these people live and get a chance at love? Right. Why is it like this? Yeah. It is so annoying.
No, it's crazy. Yeah. And also, whenever I think about the Latin drums, I think about motherfucking Arie on Bachelor Winter Games judging the kissing contest. And him being like... Yeah. When they were judging it, remember they were judging
the thing? Yeah, you're right.
And he was like, oh yeah, Bibiana's got that Latin flair or some shit. And I was like, she was on for 3 episodes. Yeah. You talked to her for maybe 7 minutes. Yes. How do you know about her Latin flair?
He doesn't. He's going based off of very easy, lazy stereotypes. Yep. That's it.
That's it.
I'd be damned if I came on screen and they drop in some... fucking
Black Panther
generic Ghanaian drums or some shit like that, like, or some the Black Panther remix. Come on, they didn't do that for any other character. Nope. It's like it just shows
not even the other Mexican woman who
not
was
even
on
Becca M. Exactly. So yeah, I'm still irked by that. Yeah. Anyways, should we dive into our deep dive?
I think we should. Oh my god, I'm scared.
Why are you scared? Oh my god, Justine's been so anxious about this episode.
I have.
I'm so excited.
And I'm introing the one that is the most scary.
Well, the 5 topics we're going to talk about.
Okay, sure. Yes.
Is intergenerational dating. Then we're going to touch on confidence in men, or lack thereof. We're also going to talk about dating down and what that means. Trusting your intuition, big theme from our season. And then lastly, we'll touch on like beauty and hair when it comes to dating.
Yep. And we're 2 different hair textures, guys.
Yes, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
So let's start off with intergenerational
dating. I'm gonna intro this one because it's my favorite. So, on Arie's season, I think the biggest theme for his season was the intergenerational dating between him and Becca M. They made so much hype around her age to the point where they kept it a secret until like week 7.
Sure did.
And Becca M, reminder, was 22. Arie's 36. What is interesting is that quite a few girls in the house were like 23, 25.
Right.
So it wasn't really that big of a deal.
Right. But 22 is very young.
Yeah, because 22 is people are still in college when they're 22.
Yeah.
So it's like a big difference. When you're 23, you're usually out in the real world, stereotypically, I guess. And they really harped on the issues that could have come up between Becca M and Arie. They did not exist when they were on the show.
Right.
They just talked about what could happen.
What could come up.
If they made it to the final or whatever. And the difference between them, I think, was the most obvious in the way that they each looked.
Right. Because Arie, even before we talk about Becca M's age, Arie himself was one of the oldest bachelors.
Yes, right.
And side note, I looked this up. Nick Viall is actually older than Arie by 1 year. Yup, both have September birthdays. Nick Viall is currently now 37. But on the show, he was also 36.
Okay.
But Arie, one of the oldest bachelors. Wow. One of the oldest looking bachelors.
My God.
And 36 is not old, but he made it look terrible.
You know what it is? And this is what James said to me today. My coworker, James, the only one who knows about this podcast. Shout out to James. He said to me, and we were talking, and I was like, James, he was 36, but acted like he was 96, looked like he was 96, and then on top of that, had the maturity of someone who was like 16.
Right, to top it all off.
There's no benefit.
None. Absolutely none.
Like, what?
Yeah. He really made his age look terrible.
Yeah, and in the way that he described his lifestyle.
Yes.
How he like wakes up at sunset with his chakras aligned and then goes to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
After playing Scrabble.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God.
Like and we'll get into this. The reason why I don't really date much older is because Arie is my fear. That is my fear of dating a 36-year-old who is like that.
Yeah.
Who is so dry and boring and literally is like a retired old person.
Yeah.
When really they're 36 is not that. My brother's 35. Like, I know it's not that old. Right. But he's my fear, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And then if we get into the way that Becca M looked, especially I think with that pixie cut. And then when we first saw her, how she had on, I'll never forget her choker that she had on. And then her spaghetti strap dress.
Yes.
No bra.
None. Floating free.
She just looked like, as I think Natasha said on the podcast before, very Lolita.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And Becca, she was interesting because she's very mature, obviously.
Yes.
The way she spoke was way more eloquent than half the girls on the damn show.
Yep.
But she, no matter how mature, whatever she comes off, she's still very youthful. Yeah. Not even just the way she looks. Like, she's 22. She's not, I don't care. People say I have an old soul, foolishness, whatever. You're 22. You have lived life for 22 years. Right. It's not that much.
Yeah.
And I think our issue with her was never that she wasn't ready for this or blah, blah, blah. But is that she's signing away her youth to be with this old grandpa. Like, that was my issue with Becca from beginning to end. That kind of annoyed me. Yeah. Yeah,
no, definitely. Because their lifestyles and personalities just seemed really opposite. I think they had a great physical connection.
Sure, yeah. yeah, no, I got it.
But aside from that, I just can't see this very bubbly, vivacious 22-year-old sitting in Scottsdale, Arizona with this man and his dog. Exactly. And his mother. Yeah. Because she comes over probably 3 times a week.
She'd be really altering her life. Yeah. I don't think that's really fair. So I have a friend who similarly is in a relationship with a guy. She's dating a guy who's much older. And her life has kind of changed already. Yeah, right. Since being with him. Like, they've moved in together. And it's just, I feel like she's given up a little bit of the youth, like being able to go out with friends,
right?
You know, and travel as much and all that stuff, because she's kind of already living like this very almost married life essentially with her older dude.
Like his life in like a little bubble, right?
Yeah, it's like the two of them in a little bubble, and he's done the partying, he's done the been out in the town in his 20s, whatever, so he doesn't need to do that anymore. Who's to say she still doesn't get that prime time?
Right.
But she doesn't, because she shacked up with him. So.
Yeah, right.
Great guy. I'm sure they're happy.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
But just saying.
And I would think that too with Becca, because especially since seeing her after the show has aired, she has a very loud voice. And I mean that in the sense that everything she says she means. She's not taking nothing back.
Yeah.
She's throwing shade if she wants to. She's telling you secrets if she wants to. She don't care if she's supposed to keep them or not. And I can't see somebody like that being in that same bubble that you were just talking about.
No, because she's young and like untamable.
Yep.
And can't be shacked up in some little house acting like a 36-year-old wife. I don't even know.
Yeah, I guess. Fiance, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So I know you, Missy over here.
Yeah, girl.
Dates old men.
No, not old men. You guys, I don't think of them as old.
Okay, so what is because we have very different approaches to age when it comes to dating.
Yeah,
in our personal lives.
We do.
So let's get into that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So my personal ideal age range, the youngest I would like to go is like 32.
We are 28. Just
We're 28. The oldest I can go is 42.
Oh my god. The youngest you can do is 32.
32.
And the oldest.
The oldest I'll do is 42. That's my cap.
Okay. And how did you arrive at this?
Well, originally, honestly, the way that I arrived at it was because Adele is our age and her husband's 42.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, if Adele can do it, I can do it. And right after I had that same theory, ran into a good old ripe 41-year-old.
Oh, God.
And we started dating. And also, and I'll tell this story later about this other guy, I dated a guy who was our age, right? 28, 29, I guess. And who I was definitely like supposed to marry. And he just didn't have the kind of like maturity and confidence that I wanted in a man that I found was really, really important. That was one of the lessons that I learned after dating him. I was like, I need somebody who's like really, really confident in their manhood.
Okay.
And I find that older guys consistently have that. At the very least. They are confident in who they are as a man.
Okay.
Which is, I found now, very important to me.
Yeah.
I think because I am very, very confident in who I am as a woman. Like, I love being a woman so much, and I love everything about it. And so I need somebody who's that same way about themselves.
And he cannot be 28.
Because, like, where are they? Like, who is that?
I'm sure they exist. 42.
I've never met one. I know. 41-year-old, that was pushing it.
That is so old.
That was pushing it.
That is someone in literally a different life cycle.
He graduated college in 1999.
And we were 10.
We were 10. We were in the 3rd grade.
Wow.
5th grade, whatever.
And so... because my Bumble settings.
Yeah.
Go on that. Or online dating, all of them settings are set at 28, so our age. And my max is 32. I've recently upped it to 35.
Okay.
After more conversations with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine, open up the window a little bit. But I am like the opposite of you.
Yeah.
That like I skew younger.
Yes.
Younger meaning my age.
Right.
I have dated guys who were younger actually.
Yeah.
And don't really go too much higher than 32.
Yeah.
Or higher than the 30s. I feel like 28 is, of course, very mature and, like, I'm a full-fledged adult, but I still feel very young. I've talked about this with you before.
Yeah.
Like, I still feel very youthful and young, and so, like, the idea of being someone who's in their, like, late 30s into 40s, where I'm hoping you're very established and set in yourself.
Yeah.
I just feel like we'd be on different life planes. Like, I'm not there yet. I still want to be youthful and run around and, like, need someone with that, like, younger kind of energy.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's me.
And it does get a little weird, guys, when you have to explain to your seasoned man, like, what a podcast is or how to bookmark something on Instagram.
See, I'm not doing this. Because then I literally feel like I'm with a geriatric. Like, I'm with my parents trying to explain something. Like, no, you need to be with it.
I know.
You gotta be with it.
And it's ironic because my parents are very with it.
Yeah, your parents are very big on social media.
Yeah, don't try to find them, guys. So, for me to date these guys who are younger than my parents.
You're still up there.
Still up there, but younger than my parents. And they don't know as much as my parents do is sometimes weird. Yeah. And I wonder, I don't know, I'll have to explore that on a therapist couch one day. But about why that is that I do that.
So what are some benefits besides the confidence thing of dating someone who's older? Sell this to me. Oh, boy. Maybe I can bump the 35 to... I ain't going to 40. No. Yeah, I can bump it up a little bit. What are the benefits?
I would say that, especially because the last guy that I seriously dated was a father. To see...
Girl. And I know all this, y'all. I totally forgot about that.
Still the same reaction every time.
Yeah, okay, keep going.
Seeing him in that role to me was attractive.
Oh! Okay. Sorry, I keep having these very strong emotional outbursts, but yeah.
Because I could see how he would be if the future progressed with us. And I like that little window. I like that little view into that crystal ball. You know?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Not at all, but... But you're projecting so far into the future.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, right now. So what is it like dating somebody who has kids?
Well, just because it is something that, as you know, is, like, very important to me. I've wanted a baby for, like, ever. So it's always at the forefront of my mind when I'm dating somebody. Okay. So to see that, like, already guaranteed, like, you're a good dad was, like, awesome for me to see.
Jeez.
But it's just because it's your preferences that are at the forefront of your head. That's all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what that is. Because you're definitely more baby, kids oriented. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I do want kids, but I'm not a kids person.
Right.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely more with, like, high schoolers, college. Like, we could kick it, but I'm still not there with the kids. So for me... dating a man with kids is like a hard no. Yeah, right. Because it's not it's not at the forefront of my mind. It's like, of course I want the guy to be a good father. Like, if we get there, but it's not something I'm searching for immediately. Right. So yeah. Yeah. Also, just like dating an older guy with kids. Yeah. I want to date you and get to know you. That's the thing. It's a lot of adjusting. It's a lot. It's a lot of, like, scheduling and, like, when are they on vacation and, like, when are they at your house and all this other stuff. Do you also feel like it accelerates your life over, too? I guess it could. But I have been, like, babysitting little kids for so long that I just, like, jump in. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. It wouldn't really shake me that much. Yeah. Because I would love to be around little kids like that, too. Okay. Yeah, if I don't have to be around kids, I definitely... Yeah. You're just not like, nah. It. Yeah. And so, yeah, I feel like... Also, dating... So this is another layer. I'm an older man, and then he has kids. I just feel like it would be accelerating my growth. Yeah, right. Faster than I need to even... I don't even want to grow up, period. So dating that, I feel like would accelerate myself, and I'm not ready for that. But also the guy who I dated with kids was also, like, still fun and would still, like, go out and, like, drink and go to parties and stuff like that. Like, he wasn't some, like, you know, old fogey. Yeah, some, like, Arie. Old fart. Yeah, like Arie.
So I think that was a big part of it too, is that I could still relate to him on that level of like, we could still do the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm shutting my life down because he doesn't do anything that I want to do after the sun goes down.
Okay.
We would want to do the same things.
Yeah. So
it wasn't that big of a deal with the whole growth thing, that I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Okay. So, the 41-year-old that you dated.
Yes.
Which, you know, I'm one of your best friends, so I know.
Yeah,
I was there when you met him.
Yes, yeah.
He ended up being kind of problematic.
Ooh, a mess. A mess.
Which to me was problematic. So I'm like, okay, here's someone who's 41. Mm-hmm. I would think one of the perks of dating someone who's older is that they have their life and themselves figured out.
Yeah.
This nigga had issues.
He did.
So then, I don't know, do you go into it with the same mindset? Like at 40, I'm expecting them to have their shit together? Or are you still very...
Oh, no.
Really?
I've dated too many people who were older who were a mess. And even like my parents, and just being around their friends and just seeing how their friends' lives have progressed, and seeing all these marriages that have blown up because of cheating and all this other mess. Like, people who are older, that doesn't mean that you're shutting off any of your human intuitions, or that you're not questioning yourself, or any of that stuff. That doesn't mean any of that shuts off. This particular guy was a real serious mess. I think that but I think it was, we dated each other at the perfect time for each other. Okay. I think we used each other for the exact same thing. Yep. Just to jump back in. Yeah. And it worked out perfectly for both of us. Yeah. But I don't go into dating an older guy saying like, whew, I can exhale a little bit. He has his stuff together. No.
Oh, God. I feel like that would be the appeal.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Want to date a 40-year-old who's still a mess. Like, I expect that of 28-year-olds, maybe.
Right.
40, that nigga better have shit all ducks lined in a row. Yes. I'm still dealing with, like, basic fundamental, like, finding yourself issues at 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It happens. But I don't know why have such this aversion to dating somebody who's my age. Because even my friends who are dating people who are younger say it's like phenomenal and amazing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, maybe I should try that out. Like dating like a little 26-year-old.
Oh.
See how that goes.
You mean going like younger?
Yeah. Yeah, like going down 2 years.
Okay.
And see how that works out.
Yeah.
But dating, I don't know. I don't know about dating somebody in the like 28 to 30 range. I don't think I know enough guys in that age range, I think.
Really?
I really don't.
To know what they're like.
To know what they're like, yeah. I think like I said before, I have to open up my friend circle. Yeah. And see what you else is there? Men are like.
Yeah. I'd say 28 to 30-year-old men are like 26-year-olds.
Okay.
Like in terms of their growthness in their head or their mental development or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'd say about 26. Okay. It's like decent. You're like getting there.
Yeah. And maybe you can mold them a little easier.
Yeah, that's another fear of mine of dating someone who's older, is that they're so set in their way. Like, what can I teach
girl? Them? Old dog ain't learning no new tricks.
See, no, I don't like that. See, no, that's actually, I'm glad that came out. That's actually probably one of my biggest fears, is I kind of want to be with someone who's around my age range, so we can kind of like grow together and like do things together, learning, studying new traditions, whatnot. But with someone who's a bit older, he's been living his life like that. That's just how it is. If he happens to be someone who's very flexible or adaptable, he'd be open to, newness or learning from you. But just my preconceived notion in my head of someone who's like 40, they're fine with how things are going at the rate and pace of what their life is doing. Yeah, right. And then I kind of feel like you then are wedging yourself into their life. Yeah. And that I feel like it should be coming together.
Yeah, as long as both parties are open, it shouldn't be a problem. And as long as both parties don't make it a thing. Yeah. If you make it a thing, then it gets weird and awkward. The age thing. Like how Arie did with Becca. He was like, you're 22, you're 22, you're 22. You gotta get over that. Like, you have to get over it. Yeah, you can't. And I don't know if you... It's one of my pet peeves when I date older guys and I'm like, oh my god, you're 28.
Oh, they bring it up.
Yeah, no, they always. if there's a confidence issue, it's never on my end. It's always on theirs. So,
Which again, you're old. Why are you having confidence issues? Like, you haven't sold me, Justine.
I think they're having issues, the same trepidations that you're having about dating an older guy, they're having about dating a younger woman. Of like, what do you mean? She probably is not done living her life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're having those same kind of issues.
Gotcha. I think I'm going to leave my age parameters where they are.
And I might expand mine.
Yeah.
I might expand mine.
To older or a little younger? Oh, dip it down
I'm not getting any older
than
42.
Girl, bye.
I'm not, no.
No.
So, you guys, one of my favorite friendship games to play with Natasha is a game of, like, some specs of a potential man, and then she answers if she'd date him or not.
Yes. We literally do this all the time.
All the time.
I don't know why.
All the time. It's
Torturing
my favorite thing to do.
Oh, Jesus.
So,
right, what are the
here we
specs
go.
this time?
Now, this is a good one. He's 35.
Okay.
He has a 12-year-old
Okay.
who only stays with him during the summer.
Why?
Because
I
she
got
lives in
questions.
another state.
Okay.
He's got like a net worth. Like he's like a solid guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? With a solid job. What do you do?
35.
35.
Has a 12-year-old who lives in another state.
Yep.
My first question is, why are you not living in the same state as your child?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't you
Because
want
they can
to
spend
be
all summer with them.
all summer?
Yeah.
To me, that's not enough.
Okay.
I don't have kids. I would want them to see their father more than just a summer.
Yeah.
So my first question, I'm already kind of like on the fence about this dude off of that.
Okay.
That aside, he's 35.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 12-year-old,
Yep.
which is not ideal for me.
I know. And the
what was
summer,
other thing?
which is also not ideal for you.
Right.
Love the
Summertime
summer.
is my this damn 12-year-old scrape my whole summer up. Oh. And then what was the other thing?
That he has like a solid net worth. Like he's like a solid guy.
Like with money and
With
stuff.
money.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kids is like a deal breaker for me right now.
Wow.
It really
okay.
is.
I get it. I totally
Yeah.
get that.
I'm just like not there yet.
I would be very wary of that too.
Yeah.
For the reasons that you listed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Yeah. So it's a no.
Okay. I feel like this one's gonna be an automatic no, but I'll answer it anyway.
What is it?
He's 41.
Okay.
He's worth $7 million.
Okay.
He has a 3-year-old that he sees every Sunday.
Ugh.
What do you do?
A 3.
He's a generous 41-year-old. He's 6'2".
Look at you adding all this stuff.
I have to add it because I have to make it hard.
41. So I have questions though.
Why?
Like, so what is he like as a 41-year-old?
Oh, he like has Instagram, and maybe he's like dabbled in Snapchat, but Rihanna said no, so we're off that. And
Like, what are we like together?
oh, girl, I don't know. This is your man.
Yeah, but you're only giving me age and he's
Yeah.
a kid and whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and the net worth. Like,
What else does he do? He doesn't live in New Jersey. He lives on like the early Harlem, right? Like 116th, somewhere
Okay.
around there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else can I give you that's not a financial spec? Oh my God, he loves movies.
Okay.
He loves movies.
I'm a movie head.
Mm-hmm. He like goes to the film festival. He was going by himself. That's how you met. You met in the theater.
Ah,
You met at the
nice.
film festival.
Oh, that's my dream. It's coming up in 2 weeks, so I'm hoping I meet somebody.
See, you might be there.
That net worth though. That's what makes it hard. The 3-year-old though, man.
The 3-year-old every Sunday?
Oh, not even just having a 3-year-old as a young ass kid. Oh my God. I don't know. The kid kind of is a deal breaker for me right now. Yeah.
Okay. I get that.
I mean, I might go on some dates, get some dinners out this dude. Maybe get to know him a little bit.
Yeah.
Same with the 35-year-old, although his 12-year-old living outside the state is just like bothersome to me. Okay, I'll say this.
Uh-huh.
I keep saying, guys, it's a deal breaker. It's a hard no if he has kids.
Mm-hmm.
You still know how you get along with someone, and like all of that stuff. So like, I'm open for it. I'm not actively seeking out guys who have kids.
Yeah, no, that would be weird.
Yeah. Or I'm not actively like interested, I guess, in guys who have kids. But I've never dated a guy with a kid.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the 40-year-old, 1-year-old, 3-year-old wouldn't actually be that bad.
Yep.
Plus he got that 7 mil.
And I have one last one.
Okay.
He's 29.
Mm-hmm.
He has an idea for an app that you know it's going to be the next Instagram. You know it.
Cool.
He just needs the funding. You love it.
Mm-hmm.
He makes less than you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Hell yeah, date him.
Date him?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to have money today. You have to have potential.
Yeah.
And ambition.
Yeah.
So he has a app idea, and I look at the app idea, and I'm thinking it'd be one thing if he came with some BS, but he comes with an app that even I see potential in it, and he's not making as much money as me. He's still young.
Okay, cool.
Most startups, they're in their 30s, whatever, when they get that stuff going. And he's in my age range.
He
He
is.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Lawrence from Insecure when I wrote that. That's what I was thinking.
Oh.
I was thinking of doo-wop or...
He gotta be better than Lawrence. Get off that goddamn couch and go get a day job or whatever.
Yeah.
And then build the app on the side. But I'm down for entrepreneurial spirits.
Yeah,
people
ambition.
with ambition and potential.
Nice.
To make 7 mil.
Yeah.
Like the 41-year-old.
Yep. Right.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
And that was it. That's the end of the game.
All right, I'm done. I feel like I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So we're gonna segue into our next theme, which was a major theme from Arie's season, which is confidence in men, or the lack thereof, in the case of Arie. So, one of Arie's most unattractive qualities was his complete and utter lack of confidence. And just the way he carried himself. All season, we played the womp so many times.
Oh my god.
When Arie came on screen, because he just didn't have a confident, commanding presence.
Energy at all.
Yeah, his energy was so lackluster and just read very timid.
Yep.
His posture wasn't very commanding. He was intimidated by the girls on the show, the Sienna and the Jacqueline. Just everything about him was just whack.
Yeah. Yep.
He's not the definition of a confident man. And you can look at just look at who he chooses at the end.
Right.
He chooses someone who is so one-dimensional and just flat. So that next to him, he looks like Superman.
Yeah. Right. And clearly easy to manipulate.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. Yep. Very easy to kind of manipulate and not kind of full on gaslight.
Definitely.
By the end. And so, yeah, confidence is very much a quality that I think most women look for in guys. Which is why I feel like even beyond the last episode, how she made some joke after 3 weeks she was like, I was left with Arie, the fuck was that? He didn't have even that redeeming presence that even now after the show ends that she can say good things about him.
Right.
She left and she was like, he was whack.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? He didn't leave a good impression.
Right.
So yeah, confidence in men. I would say for me, confidence is very important, particularly in the early stages of dating, I think. So I personally like guys who take charge. I think a lot of women will say that. When it comes to arranging dates.
Yeah.
Or, making the first move. Or just setting shit up. Being that kind of traditional. I like the traditional traditional that kind of can happen between a man and a woman. And it does take a confident man to do that kind of courtship.
And I think that is so key and necessary, and we saw it on Arie's season because Arie's lack of confidence totally shifted the atmosphere when he walked in. And all those women are really strong either entrepreneurial, or they have great jobs, or they're really smart. Like, that was a great batch of girls. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he walked in the room, it was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, everybody became unsure.
Right.
Everybody.
Even Bibiana said it. She was like, his energy, because he was so nervous and not very seasoned on the cameras and stuff like that, that rubbed off onto all of them.
Yep.
They're all very nervous and anxious.
Yep. So I don't think it's something that as women we should feel bad for wanting. I think it's literally like a nature versus nurture thing. Like, that's just what we like. Or at some points, I think, like you said, in the early stages of a relationship, you almost need. Because if he isn't confident, it establishes like friend zone or not.
Yeah. That's very true.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way the guy kind of takes the lead or doesn't take the lead in that early stages of dating, as a woman, makes you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Like, is he really into me, or are we just friends?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that friend zone kind of feeling definitely comes up there for sure.
Yep.
So yeah. So for me, I've talked in the past about the German.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I feel like I talk about too damn much, but it's the most relevant, the most recent. So last fall, I dated very briefly, about 2 months, a guy I met online, call him the German, because he was German. And our first kiss happened on date 3, and I had to initiate it. Date 4 was our first, like, make out, I guess. Also had to initiate.
That is terrible.
Yes.
That is horrible.
It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that, it could definitely be attributed to his lack of maybe confidence.
Yeah.
And that in those early stages, which was so annoying to me because I feel like I made it very clear that, like, I like you, I'm into you, like, you can kiss me. Like, I made it very apparent, but his apprehension and his lack of confidence is what made him so hesitant. So I had to kind of, like, take charge, which I don't want, like, as a woman in the early stages, as someone, I'm not saying all women want this, but as someone who I am, for me, I like the traditional courtship, where a guy kind of, like, you know, sets the date and picks you up and all that. So, like, I want that for myself. So me,
he didn't even have to pick you up. This is New York City,
right?
Nobody picks you up. No. You don't even have to do that, nigga.
But, like, yeah, the making a move, he just couldn't do it. Just didn't have the confidence.
That is one of my worst nightmares.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It isn't, because we're just friends.
Yeah.
Like, we're just friends. You know?
Yeah.
I'll get into that story a little later.
Wait, what do you mean you're what?
Like, if you're not making the first move by date 2, even if I don't take it, we are friends.
Right, then it's just you're a dude and I'm a girl. We're just going out together all the time.
Or worse, I am woman and you are boy.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Which never works.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So that was like a no for me.
Yeah, for sure.
It made me realize how I do need a guy that can have that confidence to make that move. And I understand, like, we're hard on guys. Because, I mean yes, men ain't shit.
I guess.
But when it comes to, like, court, like, we put a lot of pressure on them. We want them to do this. Yes. You have to do this. You have to pay. I want all of that. So I understand that. I don't make it easy.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it does take a little, because they deal with guys deal with rejection all the time. Yeah. It does take a little extra bit of confidence or something to still go for the kiss. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even if you're apprehensive whether she's, like, down for it, if you're reading the signals right, like, you just try. Yeah. Oh, dude didn't even try, Justine.
That is hard. I can't even fathom.
Oh my God. I had to whip up the confidence to basically maul his face.
That's the other part, is that I guess guys are so stupid they don't know, but it's a lot of work as a woman to make a man feel comfortable when you don't know him. When you know him, it's easy it's so easy to, like, know his buttons and whatever. But if you don't know him, to make it obvious that you like a guy takes a lot of work. Yeah. And so I can't even imagine doing all that work and then you have to make the first move too.
Oh my God.
Oh, horrible.
And then, like, also because, like, I didn't know if it was like cultural differences.
Yeah,
I was
true.
texting like my friend who's
Yeah.
German, my other friend who lives in Amsterdam. I was
Yeah.
talking to all these people, like, is this a cultural thing?
Mm-hmm.
And they said that it was,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And we saw in Bachelor Winter Games
We
the
saw jacuzzi guy
Mhm.
who was not making no moves.
None.
So I think there definitely was a cultural layer to it. So
Yeah.
maybe I don't fully blame his lack of confidence.
Okay.
Because he did take charge with planning dates.
Yes.
And it was very mutual in that way, which I did, appreciate about him.
Yeah.
But the making the move, man, didn't have the confidence to do that, and that shit was.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So speaking of kissing,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on kissing on the first date?
Oh, you know
'Cause
what?
that takes some confidence.
It does. Yeah, that takes
As
balls.
a guy, that's where I'm like, all right, I'll give you,
Yeah.
a little leeway with that because that takes some balls.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts?
I think in the year of our Lord 2018, and with all this Me Too and all of this stuff, as you said, that takes a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of things, around the news and media that are going against men making any inappropriate moves. And I think a lot of guys don't know now how to act appropriately because they've been raised to and have been acting that way for so long. So kissing on a first date is like a lot for a guy. Would I do it? Oh
Have
my
you done
God, no.
Really?
Nope, never.
Ah.
Nope. And while I would, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, totally, definitely, yeah, do it. The fact that I've never done it means that it's not for me, which sucks because in my, I think I'm one way, but really I'm another.
You're like, oh, I'm wild and free. Actually, no, I'm super conservative. Don't touch me in the first date.
Actually, no, don't touch me. I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. And I think part of that has to do with, and I've talked about it on the show before, how I've just been overly sexualized for the better part of my life. So I just want to, I want that reassurance that you're getting to know me for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
No, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. I've kissed on the first date twice.
Okay.
One was terrible.
Oh.
And he basically forced me.
Ew.
Well, not forced me. Well, yeah, kind of pressured me. Yeah. We were like saying goodbye, and I was like, all right, hug. And then he kind of pulled me back. He's like, oh, is that it? And, his face came close, and I was like, I guess we're doing this. And it was not a good kiss.
Yeah.
And I didn't like him either.
Right.
The date ended terribly, and the date was terrible in my opinion. So.
Well, you know what? Shout out to you for not ruining his life and being like, yeah, that is it, nigga, bye.
Right. True.
Because that could have ruined his whole life from that.
Yeah. No, I
obliged. I'm just didn't
obliged.
That's good.
Yeah, it was very quick and harmless.
Right.
I'm not down for it.
And then wait, what about the second time?
The second time was that guy that I went on the 2 dates with.
Yeah.
Boy from, what was that, last year?
Yep.
And yeah, that was a marathon date. We were out for 12 hours. It was ridiculous. So it was that one date was 5. So it was by the end, it's all right, it's day 5, let's make out. So that went well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, that's that. So our next theme that we wanted to dig into is this concept of dating down, which came up again quite a bit on Arie's season.
Yeah.
Came up a lot, mostly in relation to CN, who went to Yale.
Yep.
She's traveled the world, just the way she carries herself. Everyone, including us, were saying this girl is way better than Arie. What is she doing here? She's dating down, all of that. Arie, his sentiment was that he was intimidated by dating up, I guess.
Right.
in his mind. And so dating down can really be, it can be dating someone who is not up to your standards, maybe.
Yes,
not just educationally.
Yeah.
Sienna was more educationally. But it could be also financially.
Yeah.
And physically.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, on the show with Arie, I would say that all of the women were dating down physically.
Every last one of them.
Physically, y'all were all dating down because you guys were beautiful, and Arie
is not.
not. Educationally, we had Sian, but we also had Dr. Tia.
Dr. Tia.
Jacqueline.
Just about Dr. Jacqueline.
Damn near PhD, whatever. Very accomplished women.
Yeah.
Arie's accomplished in his own right. He had the race car career.
Definitely. Yeah.
He's in the real estate business. He owns property, stuff like that. So he has his own lane. But nonetheless, the concept of dating down was like huge.
Right.
Because Arie was not shit.
All those women were like way younger than him.
A lot younger too.
So the fact that they've done all that and accomplished all that and they were way younger than him.
Right.
Also probably intimidated him like, damn, what they about to do in the next 10 years?
Exactly.
I'm gonna be 46. They're gonna be out here conquering the world. I'm gonna be in Scottsdale, my dog.
Basically. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting topic. I related to CN a bit.
Yeah.
I similarly went to an Ivy.
Oh, girl, she went to 2.
Technically, yes, went to 2. Bachelor, Masters. So I've been on dates where, the concept of like, oh, where'd you go to school? Comes up, whatever. I always have anxiety about revealing it because after years, not even just on dates, but when you mention
social settings,
just
right?
in social settings, you mention to people, oh, you went to X school, and there's always a glimmer in people's eye. On dates or just in general, it's a glimmer of like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, she went to that school. That's awesome.
Right.
Da, da, da. Or it could be a glimmer of, oh, fuck. I'm on a date with that kind of girl.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. She's probably thinking she's better than me. Yeah. Da, da, da. And so I always get a little bit of anxiety around it. And so I see where Cien was saying, I don't know if it was on our podcast or somewhere else, where she didn't like how people were saying, like, she was dating down or she's too good for him. Because that maybe makes her feel some type of way.
Yeah, definitely.
Feel some type of, like, apprehension or, like, not anxiety, but she's probably gotten that a lot. Where she's gone out with guys, mentioned where she went to school, and then they're like, oh, fuck. Or, some people like it, some people are like,
especially because she's on the West Coast and she went to Yale.
Right.
And Yale is like this worldwide famous school, and they've probably never been like even anywhere near Yale. So that makes it even more like, oh, you went to Yale?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. So that, I got what she was saying there.
For sure. And what you say about when you go to a school and you say it out loud and people have a glimmer in your eye. Guys, I went through a phase and the 41-year-old broke this phase where I was actively seeking men who did not have a higher education.
This was very strange to me.
Because
this entire phase, I've been trying to coach her out of this, but this is what she was going through.
Number one, I just got out of, at the time, dating a guy who was getting his master's in engineering, and he was a dick face. He was awful. And I realized that education didn't matter as much to me as I thought it did.
Okay.
Then, secondly, I had a little bit of a fetish.
Yep.
A little bit of a fetish for the thugs.
Your thug life fetish.
And the guy's a little, a little rap sheet,
What?
It's a little dangerous.
They got the
burner.
Not doing this. Guys with a rap sheet.
And I still do. It still comes up. It still bubbles up. I just don't let it bubble over. I know. It's bad. I don't know what it is. But yeah, so that's just one thing that I related to out of that conversation.
So let's talk about this thug fetish of yours.
Let's explore.
Because as you were going through this fetish,
yeah,
I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
I want better for you.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So, why were you opposed to dating men who were, like, too educated?
I think because I was dating somebody or dated someone who was going after a second degree, and he was by far the worst man and meanest man I've ever dated, and also had a serious superiority complex because of his education.
Okay, so that's what I wanted.
It was rooted. A lot of it was rooted in his family values, but the secondary was his education.
So when you were around him, he was making you feel some type of way about yourself as it relates to...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so why did you think axing off men who have education altogether? Like, what was it about dating, like, thugged out, like...
Yeah.
You know...
Well, I think that...
blue-collar kind of guys.
Yeah.
What did you feel like you would get it from them?
Well, that's the whole thing, is that I was getting something from them out of dating somebody who was the complete opposite of that guy. It had nothing to do with, like, oh, I'm dating them because of this real ass reason. Like, oh, I'm dating them because they work a blue collar job and A, B, and C. I was dating them because I was using them as an escape from the last one.
Oh, okay. That makes sense now.
Yep.
So it was escapism a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And just a rebellion of, like, especially because everybody wanted me to date this last guy. I wanted to rebel and be like, no, look, see, it's fine if you date somebody who hasn't went to college. It's totally fine. Like, I really wanted to rebel against that whole narrative that was following me for so long with this last guy. I wanted to just get rid of it. It was a very selfish phase. Yeah. And I'm glad that it wasn't really as fulfilled as I wanted it to be. Because I would have used a lot of people in a really negative way.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I knew this was going on, but I was like, thug niggas definitely ain't shit, so...
You were riding hard, though.
I was!
You really
oh my
were.
God, totally. I was like, if you went to college, ew.
What are you doing? Yeah! And you're like, wow, you had all the justification. I'm sitting in the corner like, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, in dating someone who... dating down, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
And we're using this, you know,
loosely. Yeah.
Dating down, I guess, educationally in this respect. Someone who didn't go to college or last guy who was very, like, blue collar.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever feel like intellectually you weren't, like, stimulated? 'Cause I feel like that's, let me just, because I don't want people coming for me.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's when people say, like, he has to have a college degree or he has to be... And their justification is always like, because I want to be able to have like deep, articulate, you know, intellectual conversations with them. Which I'm someone who wants somebody with a college degree, but I know that you can have conversations with anybody about anything.
Yeah.
So that's not my argument, but that is an argument I've heard. So I'm curious, dating someone who was without a college degree, a little bit more blue collar. Did you feel a lack of intellectual, like, curiosity or intellectual stimulation?
Not at all.
Okay.
I think it was one of the parts that he really appreciated about me, and he was very vocal about that as well, which didn't make me feel like I was dating down. Okay. And also made me feel like he wasn't just underconfident about the fact that I went to college and he didn't. And he also asked me a lot of very intellectually stimulating questions about things that I enjoyed. Like, he used to ask me about the beauty industry all the time.
Oh, okay.
Very deep, in-depth, like, questions about what it's like to be a black woman getting involved in the beauty industry and what's blogging like and the whole media behind it, everything about that. The guy who I dated who was getting a secondary degree did not give a fuck. Yeah. Could care less. And did not actively have that many intellectually stimulating conversations with me because he felt superior.
And he went to a very top school.
Yes, he did.
Wow. Okay.
So, you know. And also, the other guy who I dated who went to double Ivy was always, like, surprised by how much I knew.
Ill.
Right?
That's so great.
And I mean...
he would turn you off from dating anybody who went to college, period.
Yeah. Yes.
By the way he acted.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And, like, I didn't date him for that long, so it wasn't that, you know, serious. But he would turn into professor mode. Like, real quick. And then I would say something. I would, like, fill in the blank. And he would be like, oh, shit, you know, oh.
You read? Yes, bitch.
So I don't necessarily feel like having a guy with no education is dating down. I should say that.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone I've dated has gone to college for the most part.
Yeah, probably.
But I've certainly met plenty of people who haven't and are still, I mean, even just conversation wise, up to my part, like up to standard with me. Yeah. So I wouldn't classify them as someone who's less than or
right.
I'm friending down.
Like lacking.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
For me, in terms of, setting my standards. And,
yes. Yeah.
Like for me, bare minimum, I would like to date someone who also similarly went to college. I also work in education, so higher education is important to me. Yeah. That would be kind of strange.
It's one of your priorities.
It's a priority for me. Yeah. And that is that is still while knowing that you don't have to go to college is not the only route for people to be successful. So I'm definitely open to people who have alternative educational paths. Right. But what I'm seeking at the moment is someone who similarly went to college. Where they went to college doesn't matter. The fact that I went to a very top college, by virtue of that alone, I'm going to be quote unquote dating down. Yeah, right. No matter what. Right. Unless you went to the other two schools ahead of us. Yeah. So that's why I can't have parameters on where they go to college. And in general, that's just not important to me anyways. Right. We do have a friend.
Oh, Lord have mercy, Jesus.
You know I was going there. Yeah. We do have a friend, love her to death. But she has some strict standards.
Oh my God. Strict the what are the people who do the college ratings?
U.S. News and World Report.
The World Report top 10. Yeah. I would say maybe now it's expanded to top 15, 20.
Yeah, I'd say she's open to at least 25.
Okay. Yeah, okay. 25. Yeah. All right. That's solid. But there's 6,000 universities.
Problematic.
So no.
And she is someone who she's very educated.
Very.
She got 3 degrees, all from top universities. Yep. Bitch, you won't have to be dating down.
You just are.
You just are. That. But I think she's holding on to. She knows that she's gonna be out educationed everyone.
Yeah, right.
So she's holding on to. Well, if I am going to, then
he's gotta go
for one of these. Which I mean, we've both tried to have conversations with her on why this is stupid. Yeah. But yeah, I think for her, she just got to change those standards.
Yeah, definitely. Because the guy who I dated who did not go to college taught me way more about relationships and myself than any guy who I've dated who has gone to college. Yeah. So, and to me, I guess maybe because I'm in my 20s still, but for me, that was really important. So to just cut somebody off because they don't have an education, and he was still educating himself in his field. It wasn't like he wasn't ambitious in what he was doing. Yeah. So important. Yeah, that's definitely very important to me. Even if you didn't go to college, you're still educating yourself on what you want to do. So for anyone to just cut somebody off at the knees like that just because they didn't go to a school you know the name of, when there's 6,000 colleges and universities. There's so many they're all great and they're all hard to get into and they're all expensive.
Right. You're just limiting your applicant pool, making it so small. Yeah. And I think for women, particularly black women, because we've out-educated black men at this point, in terms of literally just sheer raw numbers of the number of us who have, bachelor degrees versus black men who don't, that having those strict standards, as our friend does, just isn't gonna work. Yeah, I agree. You have to be a little bit more open, but you also, before you enter into those, dating down scenarios, you have to be fine with that within yourself, because you will then enter into this relationship, and you're gonna start to feel resentment if he's not making the same amount of money as you. Yep. Yeah. Or if you mention something from your, I don't know, from your college education, and he doesn't know what, you're gonna be feeling resentful. He, because men are very fragile in nature, is gonna feel emasculated and all the. So it's you have to just.
And he'll also show it in the most microaggressive ways. Oh, right. Y'all men are good for that. Y'all good for a microaggression. Oh my lord.
So I think you have to. Speaking to our friend, have to get into a mindset where she's okay and accepting of the fact that you're going to quote unquote date down.
Yes.
In that way.
Yeah. In that way.
When it comes to education or even financially.
Yeah, right.
Like that's another big thing too. Like
yeah.
I work in education, so y'all know I'm not making pots. I'm making pennies in these streets. Got mad side hustles. So I myself would like to date somebody who makes more money than I do.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's not that hard.
Yeah, right.
So that's me.
Definitely.
And
I second this.
Thank you.
Also because it's so easy.
It's so easy
because
we make pennies.
We make pennies, and also black women, while we're educated and we're employed and all this stuff, we still make 63 cents on the goddamn dollar. You make 92? I think black men make.
Oh, black men?
Yeah, because men be looking out for each other no matter what. As soon as they start working, they got at least one little ally.
Yeah.
So it's just not difficult. That's why it's one of my requirements, because it's not hard.
What is?
Making more money than me.
Oh yeah, no, that's like very
what?
easy. But I feel like if you're a woman who, like our friend who's making tons of money, or if you're a woman who's going to be making a lot of money, and the chance of you dating a guy who's making even more money, while that sounds ambitious and great, it might not be realistic. Yeah. Then you will essentially financially be dating down. Yeah. And again, you just have to like be in that mindset and be resolute in that within yourself before entering into that relationship. And all of a sudden the resentment and emasculation and all that shit arises.
Terrible.
So, yeah, interesting.
Agreed.
Very interesting concept.
And my last story for this. One time, guys, I'm a Jack and Jiller, just so you know. But one time at Jack and Jill conference, there was a man who got up to speak to all of us young ladies. I think we were in high school at the time, so everyone was 14 and 18, like between that age range. And he got up there and told us that we should date down because men need fixing.
Get the fuck out of here.
I will never forget that.
How old were you?
We were 14.
Oh my god.
We were anywhere between 14 and 18, and he told a group of at least 100 young black women to date down.
Wow.
Could you imagine?
And he was saying date down in what way? Like
every way. Every way. Financially, like mentally, emotionally, like, every way.
Date beautiful women with mad potential. Yeah. Please date our fucked up niggas who can't get their shit together.
Yep. Yeah. What? Because they need fixing. Yeah.
To actively seek to date down.
He was like, if you want to get married, date down. Like, I remember this. He was like giving out marriage advice, talking about dating down.
That's crazy. To 14-year-old women, I would tell them, maintain your standards.
I would tell you, you don't have no standards. You're 14.
I mean, you're 14, but I'm projecting when you start to date, like that advice that you give them is like, maintain your standards. You don't have to dumb down for nobody. Be out here and be your big, bad, beautiful self, gaining all your credentials and accolades and whatever. And hopefully you meet somebody who is up to your same par.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's always the goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But you don't have to dumb yourself down or date down or whatever the hell he was saying. Because just a no.
Nice for what to these
niggas. It's a no.
Ugh. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's all how you carry yourself. And like for Arie, you know, he was so intimidated by CN. That's his own personal problem.
Right.
Like, CN is not doing anything to intimidate you, but he very much put himself into the dating down, or she was dating down. He was dating up category because of the way he was treating the situation. Yeah. And just didn't have that confidence or didn't have appreciation for, okay, she's a great girl who went to a great school. Right. Next, what's up? What else?
Right. Okay, so speaking of knowing our standards, another theme from Arie's season was trusting your intuition. We had an entire episode dedicated to Jacqueline.
Shout out to Jacqueline,
who was not feeling it and trusted her gut and bounced in a real dramatic way. obviously because it's The Bachelor. But that was her gut decision. She was sobbing the whole way through.
Yeah.
But she did it because she knew.
She
knew she had to go get that PhD, and no one was gonna stop her.
And she was trusting a feeling, because even as you said, like when she was leaving, she was crying, and she left almost right after their one-on-one date.
Yeah,
which was like fine, like things went well.
Right.
I mean, they had the conversation about her getting the PhD and things like that, but generally all was looking well. But that gut feeling, that intuition, that shit, you can't shake that.
Yeah,
you really can't.
Especially when you're sitting in a house with no cell phone and no other friends besides these fucking producers and these other girls dating this man.
Right.
And you're like, oh my god, like I like him, I guess, but it's not that serious.
Exactly.
And they were in Paris. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot of elements that were against her, and she trusted that gut and went with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is dope. Now, versus Kendall,
oh god,
who was forcing it the whole time.
She knew this nigga wasn't it.
Oh my god, she knew.
She knew her twin. As soon as they walked in the door, she knew this wasn't it.
Nope. She was like, nah, this ain't it.
This ain't not it.
Yeah.
And Kendall just kept riding along. She had the intuition. She knew.
She did. Not only did she have the intuition, but she was testing him. Remember when they were stuffing the rats? And she was like, I just don't want somebody who thinks that I'm like a quirky, like character, and that's why they're dating me. And he was like, but I like that you're a quirky character. Like
you just failed the goddamn test.
F.
Yep.
And she was like, oh, I guess that's a fine answer. And kept going. She should have just left right then.
Kendall's really forcing it. Yeah. Ignoring all signs. And I feel like we're hard on Kendall, but most people are Kendall.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Most of the time, the red flags are waving high. And you are still sitting there like, nope, because you really love this person, or you really like them, or you really enjoy their company, or you like the tent. Like, there's so many reasons, and you just push through, and then you just learn the lesson at the end when it crashes and burns.
Right,
it usually does.
Oh, jeez. And I feel like with women, we have an intuition that is unbeatable. Like, we know when something's going wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And when you are not feeling it, and you should get out of the situation. And now this whole podcast has been leading up to this story. So I dated a guy who I knew forever, right? My whole, like, teenage life. And in our early 20s, we started, like, dating heavy, right? Like, seeing each other a lot during the summer and all this other stuff. He is very educated, had a great path ahead of him, and as everyone would tell me, would be a great provider. And would probably be a great dad. I'm sure he would be. He's one of those people who would probably be a great dad and a terrible husband.
People were saying this as you guys were dating in your early 20s?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
People were like, hold on to this one.
He's a good provider.
He's a good one. He'll be a good
21.
provider.
Who the fuck is thinking about that?
Yep.
Okay.
And I flew to another state that I could not Uber back to New Jersey.
Trapped.
And was trapped with him for, 3 days, I guess? And my intuition was going bananas the entire time. It was by far the worst trip I've ever had in my life.
Oh, God.
It was horrible. I realized his true colors almost immediately as I landed. And I did not trust my intuition. I should have never gone.
No.
I should have never gone on that trip.
Yeah.
And just like how you said it crashes and burn, when I tell you that it was like a car. It was like a Porsche going 90 miles an hour into a brick wall. Jesus. That is how bad it crashed.
Yeah.
Now, I ended up ruining his life. But... but anyway, just saying, I won. But...
why were you ignoring the signs?
Because people who were way older than me were telling me, like, oh no, you need to go for it, you need to hang on to him, blah 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 blah. And so I kept ignoring all these signs that were so obvious to me when it was just me and him. I kept ignoring that sort of almost ignoring that relationship that was just me and him.
Yeah.
I kept going off of like, yeah, but this person who means a lot to me said that it would be fine. And this other person who knows a lot about relationships said that he would be great. And so
these are people who are in successful relationships themselves?
Yes and no, both.
Okay. Don't take advice from people in non-successful relationships, y'all. Just putting that out there. Remember who you get your advice from.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And so ignoring, that was a big, big lesson, ignoring my intuition. Because I ignored it and I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah, your intuition really just
oh my God.
Screaming.
Oh my God. Screaming
It's
at you.
so hard to trust it though when you have your own like free will.
Right.
Essentially.
Right.
And like you still want to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like humans are just like conditioned to do that. Just like always take the hardest route.
Yeah.
Because we just want to experience it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we crash and burn. It's like, fuck, alright. Well, at least I got a lesson out of it. Kind of thing.
Right.
Really, you could have avoided the whole damn thing.
Exactly.
And learned the lesson some other way.
Yeah.
But yeah, trusting your intuition can be hard. For me, so Justine knows I'm obsessed with personality tests.
Yes.
Specifically, the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs. If you guys, don't know what that is, Google it. Take the test.
Take it.
It tells you a lot about yourself, how you interact with the world. It measures who you are in like 4 key areas, and then gives you like your letters essentially. So my letters are INFJ. I stands for introversion, so I'm more of an introvert. I get more of my energy being by myself. N stands for intuition. So this letter is supposed to tell you how you kind of like process the world and process information. So it's either you kind of follow your instincts or the opposing letter is S, like you kind of need tangible things in front of you. And then F, how you make decisions, whether it's through feeling or thinking, F versus T. And then J stands for judging, which is not, I'm judgmental. It's how you kind of like order your life. J's are very orderly and like plans. P's for perceiving are people who are a little bit more spontaneous.
Damn,
So
that really is you.
That's MBTI in a nutshell. But yes, I'm a textbook INFJ.
Yeah.
If you are curious about who I am at my core, read any profile on INFJs.
And there she is.
Literally there I am. It's very freaky. If you like personality tests and stuff, this is one that I think is very spot on for most people. That being said, for my Myers-Briggs, my most dominant function is my introverted intuition. So the IN is like a very huge part of who I am. And INFJs tend to have like very strong intuition. A lot of people have intuition, but like we're able to kind of pick up on, feel out situations in people and pick up on people's emotions also. Not to say whether we follow it or not, but I can figure out fairly early, not just in a date, whether I like the person or not, but I can kind of feel whether the person's feeling me.
Yeah, right.
Very easily. And yeah, I have the intuition. I definitely feel it and recognize it. Don't always follow it. Because, as I keep saying, it's very hard to follow your intuition when you really like someone. Back to German again.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I knew deep down he was not it. Like taking out with him though.
Yeah,
It
right.
was fun. We're into like the same things. It was very easy to hang out with this person. Although I probably should have cut him out a little bit sooner. He ended up being a fuck nigga on me. I wish I had cut it off a lot sooner. But I think watching Arie's season, we need to take a page from Jacqueline.
Oh my God, yeah.
And trust our guts a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
When you're not feeling it, get out.
Yeah.
Or change course. Or friend zone that guy.
Yeah.
Or do what you gotta do.
Because another one is coming.
Yeah.
Like,
someone else
is behind you.
Right.
And I say this specifically to a lot of our listeners who are in the South who are unmarried. And a lot of their friends are married. And y'all know your friends are married to ain't shit ass niggas. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But you may be kind of lonely in your spot right now where you are in life. Don't worry about it.
Right. So, moving into our last theme.
My favorite.
Justine's favorite. Talk about beauty and hair. Arie season.
So many.
I mean, some epic ones at that. Mikkel and Lauren G. Had some of the best bundles. Cien got her clip-ins on Amazon.
Clip-ins.
Like, people are literally running out to get clip-ins for the show, which is just, that within itself is interesting. Just how, as women, we go about creating images of ourselves to attract men in some ways.
That, and also for people to see us on TV the way that we really look. Because I think at like Cien's hair, you couldn't really tell when there were clip-ins or not, but she just wanted to make sure that when you saw her, she looked exactly like how she did in real life.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when you go on TV, your hair looks thinner, your pores look bigger, your skin looks oilier, like it just distorts you.
Well, she wanted to have clip-ins that were like very natural. Some girls though, they're trying to look like a whole other person.
Yes.
Like literally a different person.
Yep.
Because of this image in our head. I mean, the reason why all these women have long ass clip-ins is this image that men like longer hair.
Long hair. Yep.
Point blank period. You can't say nothing else.
Yep.
I'm sure you all like your clip-ins for yourself, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons is also because men
for the reasons
like
especially for this girl, these girls.
Yes.
Men like longer hair.
Right. So that was just definitely a theme of our podcast.
Yeah.
Was pointing out people's bundles.
Definitely.
It was interesting that they had Becca M, first girl with very short hair, like a little pixie cut. And it made her stand out. Like, just, that was a topic of several think pieces. After the first airing of The Bachelor, is like, who's the girl with the short hair?
Yeah.
Let's talk about hair in The Bachelor. Like, it was a thing. And it definitely added to her persona as, you know, being a little bit more bold and confident and like, you know, to rock that short haircut, you gotta rock that with some confidence.
You gotta.
Yeah, you can't walk in all meek and
no.
Especially when you're with girls with 30-inch bundles.
Right.
So, hair was hair, we could do a whole podcast just on hair.
We really could.
Hair is really just an interesting thing as it relates to dating and women and how you feel and all that stuff. But it was definitely like a big theme of the podcast or of Arie's season. I would also say, as it relates to, I guess, just like beauty, image, all of that stuff, is, you know, all the girls with their dresses and their gowns, and like we were very critical of like what people had on. Like, she showed a little bit more leg, take her hair down, blah 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 blah, which it could be unfair. I'm waiting for a girl that just rolls up in pajamas. Every rose ceremony, she's sitting there with her sweatpants, hair tied, she don't have no makeup on, and it's just rocking that her truth. Instead of, you know, all the gowns and the dresses, you got up your legs and your boobs, and it's just so much that goes into as a woman, like trying to attract a man, and of course feeling beautiful in your own, you know, route as well. But there's also that extra layer that we cannot all deny.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That we trying to be out here attracting men. And guys like allegedly long hair, you know, boobs out, legs showing, all that stuff. Yeah. And so that plays out just so interestingly on The Bachelor. Just watching.
Yeah, not just this season. The Bachelor.
On The Bachelor in general. Just like women, and just you're seeing it at its extreme level. Yeah. You know, the lengths that we quote unquote have to go to
and
attract somebody, I guess.
The beauty story as the years go by, because as we watched back, like Sean's season, even Emily's season, I was like, oh my god, look how thin the eyebrows were. Yeah. Look how not a whole lot of girls had clip-ins that were longer than their natural hair. They may have had clip-ins that were like the same length, but you could probably see the track. I mean, a mess. Yeah. A mess. But now that women have so much, are self-taught on so much more, the expectation is now higher. Yeah. For how you look.
Yeah, that's true.
So these girls are looking to be towing the line of like, oh my god, amazing, she's gorgeous, and is that a man?
What?
You tend to dance on the line.
Oh god.
You dance on the line.
What do you mean a man?
Like, is this a drag queen?
Oh, like a drag queen. Is that a drag queen? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because we're in the age of like Instagram.
Yeah,
makeup
Instagram
tutorials,
beauty.
and everyone is doing the absolute most.
And
yes, it becomes a little bit drag when
you
are a regular ass human being going on a date. You don't need
an
You're
Instagram
not on stage
tutorial
doing a drag show. You don't need all of this makeup. Yeah.
Nope.
Yikes. So yeah, dating for me, as it relates to hair, has been very interesting. Dating, so I've gone natural in the last 2 years or so.
Okay.
Could be longer. So I was wigs and weave queen.
Yep.
Since pretty much junior year of college. And I eventually decided like I'm not going to perm my hair anymore and kind of transition to natural. But I was still wearing wigs and weaves and all that stuff. But over the last 2 years, I've been wearing out my hair natural, which has been just a journey within itself.
Like a self-image journey.
Self-image journey, and mainly self-image journey. The natural hair journey is no joke.
Yeah.
Just learning how to find yourself beautiful in your own hair, and just literally learning how to do your hair, which is something that I hadn't had to deal with ever, because I was always permed.
And we're too old to like sit down in between our mom's legs.
Right. So literally at the age of 26, I was learning how to do my own hair, which is wild. But natural hair with dating has been very, very interesting. I've noticed some clear like pros and cons.
And
to both of them.
We could even preview for next episode that the race of men that you usually go on dates on. Not even like your preference.
Right.
But you usually go out with white guys.
I've dated a lot of white guys.
Yeah.
Yep. And so natural hair has been interesting. Or not even just hair in general has been interesting.
Yeah.
So one of the pros I've noticed since I've turned natural and doing like this online dating foolishness is as soon as I started wearing my hair natural, I changed my photos to represent how I look now. So
right.
My picture of my long, straight weave that had to go because that wasn't how I looked. And I notice now that when I match with someone, I feel better about it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're actually swiping on, like, they're seeing me and they're swiping right on me and my natural self and not swiping right on hair.
Yeah.
Because I, for many years, wore, like, long, you know, Brazilian hair, or I used to have this big curly Brazilian wig. Like, I looked like, oh my god, I got a lot of compliments on the hair.
Yeah.
Because people thought, oh, this, you know, beautiful girl with this great, like, big hair looks awesome, blah, blah, blah. But now that the hair is gone, like, I'm not relying on that hair anymore.
And it's almost like a different girl.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
It's, like, fully 100% me. So when I match with people, I definitely feel better within myself.
Yeah.
About it.
Right.
If that makes, like, any sense what I'm saying right now.
Yeah. And you feel better about the guy, right?
I feel better about the guy as well.
Yeah.
I go into it knowing that he swiped on me and how I look in my hair and all that, and not swiping on, oh, she's, you know, she's pretty, but, oh, that hair is so different, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing I've definitely noticed. Another pro of dating with natural hair, definitely as it relates to dating like white men, is not having to have that moment where you explain how your hair is fake. Which we're going to talk more about definitely in the next episode.
Yeah.
We'll dive into interracial dating.
Yeah.
But that has definitely come up. There's always the conversation, and not even with just white guys, even black guys too.
Oh yeah,
because black guys, of course, they're more aware of weaves and things like that, but they still don't know how the fuck the shit works.
Nope.
So I've had conversations with them too, of shock and amazement. Oh, that's not your hair, and this and that, and that and this. So with natural hair, it's just my hair, and that's that. There's no conversation. There's no talk about it. I mean, there's still conversation because natural hair still people want to know, like, how does it do this or
right.
But I haven't done that. I haven't done that since I've turned natural.
Okay.
So I say those are some of the two pros. Now a big con of dating with natural hair. And please email if there are other naturalistas out there who have dealt with this, because I just think this is funny/annoying. In setting up dates with natural hair, it takes much more advanced planning and work on my part. And I'll explain. for me, I do twist outs a fair bit. My day 2 and day 3 twist outs are generally how it looks the best, which means if it's a Wednesday and a guy's trying to arrange a date and he says, let's meet on Friday, that means that night I have to wash my hair.
And when you say the best, you mean it has the most defined curl?
Yes.
Okay.
On day 2 and 3, it's a little bit more stretched out.
Okay.
I have 4C hair, y'all, so it is tough.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the texture is very tough.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of shrinkage, and usually by day 2 and 3, it's a little bit more stretched out, so you can see the curl a little bit better. Not to say I don't like my day 1, but for going on a date, I would feel more comfortable with a day 2 or 3.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that, because that's also a lie. If your hair is shrunk up, it's not its, like, real potential.
But thank you. Thank you, Justine.
Yeah.
Feeling better about myself.
Definitely.
So that's a real thing. If I'm mid messaging on one of these goddamn apps with somebody and he suddenly is like, oh, let's meet on Friday, and it's a Wednesday, that means I have to hop in the shower at that moment and do my damn hair. So I could twist it. Tuesday's day 1, Friday day 2, I'm good to go. And it sounds ridiculous, but I've definitely had to do that.
Yeah.
Just because I want to feel like my best self.
Right. Oh,
and
yeah.
so with natural hair, it just takes a lot of planning. I'm definitely not a wash and go kind of girl, so I have to do some styling to it to get it to...
So you never said fuck it and just put a turban on?
To go on a date?
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel like my best self. Because I feel like I'm wrapping my hair under a scarf for a reason. Because it looks like shit, so... Yeah. And sometimes your twist out doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not feeling...
And then what do you do?
What do you do? You're just there.
Yeah.
You just gotta rock it, because what can you do?
Yeah.
But yeah, natural hair has been just a journey within itself, but with dating, it is definitely a thing. Like 100%.
Yeah, I haven't had any of those struggles. I have relaxed hair, guys. I'm about to not, girl. I'm about to be natural. I haven't gotten a relaxer in 6 months. But I just haven't had that same struggle for the reason that I don't want to struggle with hair in particular. I'm much more of a face and skin girl.
Right. So you're into like the beauty. So give us your
So I'm into the
beauty challenges.
Yeah. So I'm into the makeup, guys. Heavy, hardcore. Have been since I was 5. Been wearing makeup. And I just love it. And I don't feel my full complete self, not even my best self. I don't feel my complete self unless I got some kind of makeup on. And that has nothing to do with me not liking the way that my face looks. I think it has everything to do with the fact that I do like the way that my face looks, and that I want to present myself with my like Xena warrior princess mask on my face. Like, this is the best way that I protect myself. Like,
I'm like the complete opposite. I am like natural from the hair to the face. Like, I'm definitely a mascara and lip gloss girl.
Oh God, I hate
Justine
it so
hates.
much. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Which is why I asked you about the turban, because I would totally rock the turban because I'm a face girl. You wouldn't even have to pay attention to my hair. Because if I'm on a first date, first of all, you're not interrupting my turban. That's first of all. And then secondly, there's so much going on with the moneymaker that it wouldn't even bother me.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite. Like, my hair has to be on point, and I can go on a date for sure without makeup and feel fine. I don't think I have. Oh my God. But I'm also not very a makeup person, so if something happened, like my makeup bag out missing, I'll be like, all right, well, my hair looks good. Let's go.
Oh my God, I would die.
Wow.
I would. You guys, you should see what I have in my purse just to carry around with me. And that being said, I think going back to Ashley on Arie's season, who had very minimal makeup and looked gorgeous, and also is doing a trend that a lot of people now are doing, which is I think it's called the boy look. I think it's called. So Ashley brought that out first. And there were, again, whole think pieces written about Ashley's minimal makeup.
Yeah.
Just because she was on TV, and she was also trying to attract a man, and usually men will notice if you have makeup on. No man, besides my father and my brother in the history of life, and Will, my ex roommate, has seen me without makeup. I just won't allow it.
Why?
I won't allow it.
Why?
Because it is, like I said, my protection.
Against what?
Against anything. Anything that might come my way.
The makeup?
Yes.
What would come your way?
I don't... It's just... Well, first of all, it's like part of my spirit and my soul. Mm-hmm. And it always has been. So for me to go without it is like me going out without a piece of me.
So you feel like vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I feel like I would be nerve-wracked if I spent our whole relationship or courtship or whatever always made up, and then that day where I'm gonna show him, like, to me it'd be like a reveal.
Yeah.
Something I would have to like prep myself for. And really it's just, you're just showing your face.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even be a reveal, it would just be a silent thing for me. Because he wouldn't notice.
Right, he probably wouldn't notice.
He wouldn't notice, but
right.
For me I'd be like, you saw me without makeup on.
And then are you gonna be
Next
mad if he
marriage.
doesn't notice? If he doesn't say something?
No. This is literally just for me.
Okay.
That I am like letting a guy see me without my warrior mask on that I put on for everybody else. Mm-hmm. He gets to see me without it. What a privilege.
True.
Right?
That's true.
You know?
Because for you, that is like an area of like vulnerability. So you're being vulnerable in that moment.
Right. Which is a privilege for a man who dates me to get.
Okay.
And I don't think any man that I've dated has deserved such a privilege yet. So,
Very interesting. So yeah, interesting themes here.
I know.
While our season was a fucking dud,
flop.
There was some good stuff that came up from it. At least some good themes that hopefully you guys related to, and now you know a little bit too much about us.
Yeah, you guys know a lot about us.
So please email us your thoughts.
Yeah.
Your stories.
Email us your standards. Shoot, make a list.
Yeah, what are your standards? Have you quote unquote dated down before in any of the realms physically? I would love to know someone who dated down like physically.
Oh,
if you're beautiful and you dated a fucking leper or something. I would love to know that.
Right.
Your thoughts on hair and dating.
Your thoughts on intergenerational dating. Anybody out here like me?
Yes. Have you dated an unconfident man before?
Yikes.
Have you never trusted your intuition and need advice? Like,
yeah.
Please email us your thoughts. Our email is 2 blackgirls1rose@gmail.com.
And you can always interact with us on Twitter as well. You can always tweet us. I love reading the tweets during the day. They're so fun.
Yes.
And our Twitter handle is 2 black BLK.
Yeah.
Girls 1 rose.
Yep.
Is our handle.
Yes. So we'll be back next week, guys. We're gonna dive into some more new themes from Arie season.
Yep.
And hope you enjoyed it.
I know. Hope you loved it.
Yep. All right. Bye.
See you next week. Bye.